Thank you guys for being here. I think this past week and weekend kind of proved what we're all about as a football program. We have the words all in written throughout our building, and they're not just words written on a wall. It's kind of who we are, and it's our DNA and the way we go about things. It's trusting the process and buying in and being fully committed. And I think we got to see that showcase itself Saturday morning versus a tough opponent at Troy. It's a tough place to play, and I think our guys came out, battled and played hard for 60 minutes. Obviously pleased with what the defense did and the way they finished the football game. Offensively, some things to continue to work upon, and then special teams, I was pretty darn pleased all in all when it's all said and done. Obviously now the focus immediately has turned to Arkansas versus an SEC opponent coming to our stadium. Couldn't be more thrilled for this Saturday at 11 a.m. I know the stadium's going to be packed. Our great fans are going to be there. It's going to be a tremendous opportunity on a national stage to continue to showcase who we are and what we're all about. They've got a very, very talented roster. Their quarterback, in fact, has played more games at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium than ours. And so there's going to be challenges that come with playing a team that's that talented, but our guys will be up for it. We're going to have a great week of preparation.
Ryan, I know we asked you about the season before, but if you look at these first three games, it looks like Cortez and Jamari are kind of taking that lead. Just what are you seeing out of them being able to kind of separate themselves a bit?
I think that's a tale of two different type of receivers, right? One, Jamari Hawkins is a guy that's now going in year 4 of this program, really that had very limited reps throughout his career, but has always just bought in and saying, okay, I'm going to give this thing time, and easily could have said, this isn't going my way, I'm going to transfer, I'm going to go somewhere else. But he's a young man we've recruited out of high school that has bought into the way we do things. It's truly all in and having success by showing the patience and really developed in this program. And just quite pleased with him. He's really done a fantastic job, and he's also continues to step up his game in special teams. And then Cortez, obviously, as we know, was here probably about 10 days before that first game and has really brought into the way we do things. He's bought into the culture. He's bought into understanding this offense and the scheme. He loves his teammates. He loves Memphis, and it's been great. So we're seeing a lot of explosion from both of those young men, and we're going to continue to rely on them as the season goes on.
And then speaking of receivers, Arkansas Mega Blake is a familiar name. Just what do you see about him on film, and what do you remember from him last year?
Well, Arkansas's got a ton of talented receivers. In fact, they've got a couple guys from our conference that we've actually faced on their roster. And we know Mega Blake can run. We know that he caught a deep ball on us, and he's had a lot of success. It's our job to go out there and stop him, along with the other weapons that they have.
Coach, you played against Taylor Green before. He got benched. What did you see from him from his progression from 2023 to now?
He's a fantastic player. I mean, I think anybody that watches his film, especially this year, you'll sit there and say, wow, that's probably a Heisman candidate quarterback. The numbers he's putting up, they're almost video game-like numbers. He's very talented. He's their leading rusher. He's the leading passer. They've had 3 straight games of 500 yards of offense. I think they're 11 of 11 in red zone for touchdowns. He's been very dynamic. He's got great touch on the football. He commands their offense. He understands what Coach Petrino's asking. And so, he can do it all. I wish I didn't have to say that, but we're going to have our hands full. But we're excited to prepare for him and get ready for him on Saturday.
So, Coach, you've seen Taylor Green before when he was at Boise in here. They also had Ashton Gentry and were able to win that game. You've seen him, but you got so many new guys. Talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, so we're not going to go, we'll peek at that Boise game a little bit myself, and so will the defensive coaches. But obviously a completely different offense, just to kind of get a feel for that. But, I think that's all part of it, right? We were able to beat a Boise team with Taylor Green and obviously Ashton Gentry, a first-round running back, and we know how talented they were. But, that's in the past, and now, as we said, he's progressed significantly as a quarterback and with what they were able to do offensively now at Arkansas. So, our guys are just continue to show the film. They're going to have a great week of practice, but I think that's the biggest thing is we're going to demand more film study, right? We're going to have a better understanding of what they're doing offensively and him as a quarterback and try to get a feel for him. But he's very, very talented. It's going to take all hands on deck.
In what ways are they different than what he did at Boise?
Well, Coach Petrino, obviously one of the most creative minds in college football, is putting his guys in the right spots. And I think that's showcased. I mean, you got to see what they did. The 2-minute situation away from winning at Ole Miss and beating a top 20 team in the country on the road. And so, I think what you're seeing is they're putting him in the right positions to have success. And, he still ran the ball when he was at Boise. That was still part of what the plan was. And he had some success there as well. I mean, certainly a guy that won a lot of football games. But you look back to what they're doing now, his game has continued to grow. Like any quarterback, that progression from year 1 to year 2, year 2 to year 3, and now obviously he's played a lot of college football and having success doing so.
Through the first 3 weeks, you've been able to get pressure on quarterback, especially as the game has gone along. Now you're facing probably the best offensive line you may face all year long. You've got a quarterback who's so mobile. What are the challenges of trying to be able to get some pressure on Green and force him into maybe making some mistakes?
Yeah, great question, Greg. I think that's part of it is, we are a team that has shown to pressure, obviously. Just put on the tape from last week, and you were there live in person, get to see it. I think part of it is, find that mix, right? Do we drop 8? Do we bring 5? Getting that feel. I think you can't just sit there in one defense and say, okay, this is what we're going to sit there and play. We're going to play quarters and just rush 3 and try to figure this thing out. But he's smart, he's intelligent, and you see teams that have tried to change up the defense on him, and he's been able to pick them apart with whether it's his arm or his legs. And so, as we game plan this week, just trying to find the best solution. And then, I give our defensive staff a ton of credit, right? You think about the third play of the game, right? They came out and empty. Troy didn't, and challenged us with a seam ball, and then immediately we were able to come up with a new check and then have some more adjustments as the game went on. And that's part of college football, right? Arkansas is going to have something that we've never seen before from an offensive standpoint. And does that change what we do defensively as the game goes on? Probably. So we're going to have to find ways to affect them. But sometimes I think affecting a quarterback may be just dropping 8 and seeing what we can do.
Coach, when you recruited guys into Memphis, with his transfers, with his freshmen, they had this game circled. Like, how do you keep your guys kind of level-headed going into such a big game?
Yeah, I think our guys, credit to them, they've done such a phenomenal job of just being truly focused, right? And I keep going back to the all-in acronym, but like that N there stands for the now. And so it's having immense focus on the task at hand. And so you guys have heard me say for years and years and years about having the blinders on. And our guys have been great because none of this week mattered if we didn't handle our business versus Troy. And, regardless, then the next week you guys are going to hear me say the exact same thing, Devin. And so our guys have been great. It's a 1 week at a time approach, but I even pull back even more and say, guys, it's a 1 day at a time approach. Like today, I hope with their day off, they're having the best Monday they've ever had in their entire life. They're handling their academics, right? They're taking care of their bodies with treatment. They're watching film. They're checking in with their coaches, preparing for tomorrow morning. And then guess what? Tomorrow, I hope it's the best Tuesday they've ever had in their entire life. And so that 1 day at a time approach, that 1 week at a time approach has been great. And I'm the same way, and our staff's been the same way. Like, we can't even worry about the future opponents or what else is asked out there. It's narrowed in on that. And that's why I've been so appreciative about this group. They're fully committed to the task at hand every single day and every single week.
I think will be key this week, obviously, against the explosive offense. What's the emphasis this week to make sure improvement comes there ahead of this game?
Yeah, Joe, and I think we're still one of the few teams in college football, I think, that does some live tackling at practice. And I think you've seen it out there when you've come out and watched practice, and I think that's good for us. Obviously, it's pretty evident that we did not do what we needed to do from a tackling standpoint in some of our games, and then other times we showed up and looked like, oh, wow, it's pretty clean. So that's going to be continued part of it, right? We're going to have to run our feet on contact. We can't stop. We're going to have to brace, and we're going to have to run. These guys are a little bit bigger and faster than some of our opponents we've played so far. So we have to be really, really sound fundamentally to go out there and handle them.
This game, obviously, there was some news about the game next year being moved. Were you involved in those discussions at all? And what did you think about moving the game next year to 2030?
Yeah, great question, Jonah. I do know in 2030, I think Boise comes back here, not to get too far ahead, and then we're in Arkansas, but playing them there. But it goes back to just trying to handle it right now, especially when things happen during the season. Full credit to our administration and Dr. Ed Scott. Like, he's done a great job of keeping me in the loop on these things. Hey, this is coming down the pipe. We saw the scheduling changes for the SEC, and I'm sure some of the other conferences are going to have that. And I always say this, like, we're going to be the best in the country at controlling what we can control. And so really, no matter what, if we said, hey, we really want to play that game, that's out of our control. So the admin's doing a great job of trying to find other opponents. They keep me in the loop. We do have those discussions. To our fans out there, no, we're trying to schedule anybody that, that's a national brand. We want to play those games, and that's important for us. as a program, to continue to put our name out there and to do things at a high level. And I know our fans appreciate that, and we're going to continue swinging that way.
So if some of these schools choose to not schedule Memphis moving forward, is there some sort of motivation this week to send Arkansas out with the beating, right? Like say, hey, we're going to prove to you why you shouldn't.
Yeah, I don't think there's any extra motivation needed, right? I'm not certainly I could give bulletin board material other than our guys will be well prepared. I think, and I mean this wholeheartedly. I had someone say, "Well, hey, this is the most important game of the season." Yeah, it is because it's the next one, and it's we talked all along the goal is to win the conference championship. We're very fortunate. This is a national televised game for the entire country that has the opportunity to see the Memphis Tigers, see how we're all in and what we're all about. Our guys will be plenty motivated. I told them yesterday, post practice, I said, if I need to give you a rah-rah speech or, ask you to come watch more film and take care of your bodies, then I've got the wrong young men. We've got to do a better job recruiting. But our guys have bought in to the way we do things, and I think they'll be very, very excited.
Coach, each year you're blessed to have a great running back. This year it's Sutton Smith. What's it been like to have this guy for you?
Yeah, Sutton's a young man I've known since high school. Committed to us after his junior year in high school, and just have had a tremendous relationship with him all along, and have so much admiration for him. Obviously, last year was our starting running back, and then tore his ACL in the first quarter of the first game, and we've talked about it even over the weeks, like the way the young man is determined to get back and then go out there and shine like he has. I do think he still has a very, very high ceiling that he hasn't even met yet. But the future continues to be bright, and we're thrilled Sutton's part of our group.
Coach, is Greg good to go this week?
Greg will be day to day. Still continue to see, obviously, with him not playing in the game on Saturday, just kind of see where he looks, especially tomorrow.
We saw Jeremiah Jordan out there a lot on Saturday. What's impressed you about his progression?
Yeah, you know what I love? Jeremiah Jordan's a young guy, a local guy that we didn't recruit out of high school. A lot of people say, well, how come? A lot of people missed on him, clearly. But I think, he's got great speed. He's got great intelligence, has a great knack for the ball. He's one of those guys that can play corner or safety just as easily. And I think you got to see, the more he plays football at this level, I think the faster he'll play. And sometimes that confidence comes. And so I was pleased with him. I thought he did a fantastic job, but I think he's only going to improve the more he's on the field.
Cortez at a point with his conditioning and mentally to where he can play a full workload of snaps?
Yeah, good question. I think so. I really do. I think he's very intelligent, and that's why I was so pleased. You always worry, okay, hey, is he going to be able to learn the full playbook, right? I mean, think about the advantage some of these guys have been. They've been here for 3 or 4 years, right? They understand the language, the way we do things, and then also, okay, the nuances of this offense. But he's got probably 95% of it pretty darn pat, and I've been pleased with that. And he works really hard. He loves football. He's constantly studying it, and then along that, he came in relatively decent shape, so I was pleased with that. Now, we never ask any of our receivers to play 85 snaps a game, but he's done a great job, and I think part of it is he's determined to go out there and show that he's capable of playing here.
You talked about Cortez and Jabari earlier, but with Brady Clue said that you get a lot of ribbing from his teammates on getting the top 10 plays.
Well, we so every week in the Sunday meetings, we call it not our standard and then our standard. And the not our standard, we always start with somebody in usually college athletics making decisions off the field that are inappropriate so our guys can learn from them, right? Like guys that have done things that merit national news not on a positive level. And so we show, hey, this is not our standard. We don't do these things, and here's why. Then we'll show mistakes that occur in other college football games so they can learn from them. Hey, this is a rules education type thing so we can understand from that. And then we'll show effort plays that aren't our standard in our game. Hey, this is not what we want. This is not what we want this to look like. All right, we do things a certain way here at Memphis. That's not the effort we want. I don't care if it's 3rd and 8 and play 80 of the game. Go, run to the ball, do these things. And then we always end it then with our standard, okay? And sometimes that's pictures of guys doing community service at Le Bonheur Hospital. Then sometimes it's, hey, look at this guy making this effort tackle for such and such team. And then we show good plays by our own guys. And yeah, I started off our good plays with, I literally had the clip from SportsCenter of the top 10 and the guys went crazy. And that's great. I think more than anything, Brady will tell you, that's neat to see his name called out there to make that play. You know, Sports Center on Saturday night, where a lot of people throughout our country are watching. But you know, he was so proud. Listen, they talked about the Memphis Tigers and they talked about the win. I think he's just so proud to be represented and representing our great university.